Ladies and gentlemen, the number one mixed martial arts show in all of Pakistan is back, and we are back with the number one Pakistani fighter in the world right now, in my humble opinion. This man has been on an absolute tear. This guy has been going from promotion to promotion. Ladies and gentlemen, we are in the Shoaib Yousaf World Tour, and I do not exaggerate a single word that I'm saying right now. Brave CF50, UAE Warriors 39, Cage Warriors 137, and now Octagon 48. 4 wins and 4 promotions around the world. He is the assassin. Shoaib, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much for your time. It means so much to me personally. How are we doing? How are we feeling? First, most important question.
Alhamdulillah, Daniyal, good. And finally, we've made this happen. I'm on the podcast now. So, alhamdulillah, everything.
Yeah.
Finally, yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean it's this has been in the works for a while, and we finally got it done.
Yeah.
I mean, what a sensational couple of fights you've had! What a run you've been on! The form that you've shown in the cage as well has just been top notch. It's been world class stuff. There's no other way to put it. Man, what's going on right now? Like, just if I can ask you, like, what is the mindset been like for the last couple of fights? How have you been feeling about it? What's been on your mind?
Yeah. So, to be honest, Daniel, like, I've been switching promotions. I've had like a lot of fights getting turned down and shows being cancelled. But now, alhamdulillah, like, I was meant to fight Cage Warriors against UK's number 1 ranked guy. But 2 weeks before the fight, he got injured. He pulled out. Then they couldn't match me on Cage Warriors, so I had to fight UAE Warriors. So that was just like I took the fight on a week's notice.
Oh my God.
But now, after that, I signed with OKTAGON. And so now I am with OKTAGON.
Yeah, so that's the long-term situation right now. Like, you're going to be having a couple of fights in OKTAGON?
So no one knows this, but in my contract, it's a 4-fight deal. But if the UFC come calling, I can leave. So it made sense for me.
I love that.
Yeah.
I feel like it's a mutual benefit. They would also want fighters from OKTAGON going to the UFC, and obviously that's the pinnacle everyone's aiming for, right?
Yeah. And as long as they keep me busy, I just wanted to fight because I've had like 2 years where the fights have been cancelled, COVID, whatever. So it just made sense. And they're a very good show. So, yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, for sure. They're like top notch. The production quality, the way they're expanding around the world as well. I know they're now actively promoting shows in multiple countries. OKTAGON's high level stuff. And even the show OKTAGON 48 that we just saw in Manchester. I mean, that looked like a really big show. And it felt like a big fight field. And it looks like they really do value you as a talent as well, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, yeah. And it's the first time in the UK, so they're just getting better and better. So, yeah, it'll be good to see what the future holds, inshallah.
100%. And I mean, how good did it feel to hear like your legion of fans, the Assassin Army, full display? I mean, they were really loud in Manchester. How good did that feel?
Yeah, it's always good. Like, alhamdulillah, I got a lot of support, from the UK and my city, town where I'm from. And it's been a long time. I think it's been before COVID where I fought in the UK with the crowd. Because I fought on the Cage Warriors show, but that was it was behind closed doors. So it was good to have a crowd back.
And I mean, it's incredible. Like, being on the ground here in Pakistan, I seldom see like, a fighter having that kind of support behind them, because in Pakistan, the scene's still developing. But out there, dude, like there's people who really believe in, your talents and what you can do. And as they should, right? What does that mean to you? Like, you've lived most of your life in the UK, so I mean, it shouldn't come as a surprise. But just your community getting behind you, like, how good does that feel for you?
Yeah, it's always to be honest, Daniyal, we come from like a little town in the UK, so it's like the full town's behind me, and not just the town. Like, I've got a lot of Pakistani fans around the UK, so it's alhamdulillah. Like, I appreciate all the support from everyone, and like. We got a lot of Pakistani boxers, but in MMA there isn't much. So it's good to see now, like especially in the UK, there's a lot that are coming up and fighting. Like even on the small shows, like you go watch a fight and there'll be a few like Pakistani fighters on it. So alhamdulillah, it's getting there now.
Yeah. No, I mean, guys like yourself, Akib Fiaz, I mean, you guys in MMA and boxing, like you've been leading the charge, so to speak. And now I guess it's paying dividends because,
Yeah.
people are coming together to support you guys. Shoaib, like you've been dreaming of being an MMA champion since the age of 7, right? If I'm not getting that wrong. Like since you were very young.
Yeah.
Looking back at it now, sitting from exactly where you are right now on a very hot streak, signed to one of the top promotions in the world, ideally and most probably heading towards the apex of all combat sports in the world. How good does it feel looking back at your journey as a martial artist all these years?
To be honest, Daniyal, like when I do look, I do think, alhamdulillah, I have accomplished a bit, but I know the goal. There's a lot more that I want to accomplish. So, like at the moment, I'm just focused. So when I'm retired, maybe I can look back and think, yeah. But at the moment, I'm just thinking like I fight, have like a week off, and then it's on to the next one. I won't think about like how good the performance was, this, that. So it's just like on to the next.
Yeah. No, I feel you. And you're quite humble. Like you said, yeah, I've accomplished a little bit. You're an IMAF world champion. You know what I'm saying? Multiple time IMAF medal holder. 11-3 as a professional fighter. And like I said, just skill wise, through and through, you're so well rounded. Every single aspect of your game just shines through when you're fighting. Do you not ever, tell yourself that maybe I should stop and smell the roses and just, I understand being focused, but do you ever tell yourself, man, we've done really good for ourselves. We should be happy.
Of course, I'm happy, but I never think, yeah, like I always think, listen, I need to be better. I need to do more. That's my mindset.
Yeah.
But alhamdulillah, yeah, I do sometimes think, alhamdulillah, I've accomplished a bit, but I know that there's a lot more I need to accomplish.
Yeah. No, I mean, that's a champion's mindset as well, if I'm being honest. Like that you're not content, that you're not happy, that you're not settling. I mean, this is only good stuff to hear from somebody who's, climbing further and further up. I want to talk about your fight, OKTAGON 48. I mean, it was such an impressive display. It was a well-rounded performance. You showed stuff on the feet, in the clinch, a lot in the clinch. Your wrestling, as always, was on point. Ground and pound was brilliant. How good were you feeling in the cage at OKTAGON 48 on November 4th? Like, how would you just describe that fight to me now that it's over?
Alhamdulillah, I felt very good. Obviously, I was in training in Thailand for about 7-8 weeks for this fight. And my original opponent that I did have, he pulled out. So whilst I was in Thailand, I kept getting a lot of pullouts and they couldn't match me. But then when I got matched with Con Monday, I know he's fought some very good guys, like a lot of UFC guys, high-level guys, but no one's really finished him. Like he maybe has had some losses to him, but so I really wanted to finish him, and I think I was close a few times. But alhamdulillah, the main thing was get the win, and it felt good to fight, like you said, back in Manchester with the crowd, and on such a big show, OKTAGON, my debut. So alhamdulillah, everything, it was a good first fight for me.
No, for sure. And in there, like I saw you utilize that thigh clinch like never before. I mean, the stuff you were able to execute just from that thigh. I mean, is that the Bang Tao camp paying its dividends? Like, what would you have to say about just that kind of tweak that we saw in this fight with the thigh clinch? Like, what do you credit that to?
Yeah, so in the first round, I clinched him, and when I threw a few knees, I knew I hurt him because I could hear him hurt. So then I thought I can just carry on clinching. But like you said, I have to give credit to my coaches in the UK as well. But obviously, Thailand is the home of Thai boxing, knees and elbows. So there is like second nature for them, throwing them. So yeah, I give a lot of credit to like the coaches that have worked with me.
No, I feel you 100%. I mean, I want to kind of talk about Bang Tao a little more because you really do feel like you found like a new, like you kind of refreshed yourself in a way being there. Like, of course, your coach is in the UK and everything. That's your home base. That's where you're at. But I mean, how important is it, or was it for you to go out and come back in? And how good does that feel to go to Bang Tao?
So I used to. It's been many years. So I used to go do my camps out in Tiger Muta in Thailand. So the coaches there opened Bang Tao.
Yeah.
So I moved with the coaches to Bang Tao. So obviously because of COVID and all that, it was hard to travel. But now, so I've known these coaches like, for a very long time, and I've always thought, when I'm back home in the UK, like there's a lot of distractions, like little distractions, not major distractions, but in Thailand I know I can go just think about training and focus, and you've got some of the best fighters from all over the world, so it's a no-brainer to just go out there and like do a camp there. And the coaches are very, very, very good with me. So when I'm in the UK, I'm here. But when I have a fight, I'll just fly over, do a camp, and then come back.
It's like fighter's paradise, isn't it? Like everything's just there and you just go and you focus on just fighting, right?
So everything's basically under one roof. Here, I might be traveling to different cities, like one gym, another gym. But in Thailand, is just basically hotel, train. Everything's under one roof.
Yeah. I mean, that is ideal. I want to take you back to the fight for a second. You did mention before the fight as well that Konmondi, especially on short notice, is not a walk in the park. It is not, an easy fight. And it isn't. Like you said, that guy's fought really high-level guys. He hasn't been finished. Did he surprise you at any point? And specifically, I'm referring to, I think he landed some weird takedown in the opening sequence of the fight. I think he even got a takedown at the end of round 1. There was a Kimura scare in round 3. Did he surprise you at any point, Konmondi?
I knew he's good and he's tough, but what surprised me was how tough he was, because I did hit him with some really hard shots. And that's what surprised me. But like in the first round, when he took me down, I like slipped as well. So but I knew that he's tough, and he comes from a good gym, MMA Factory in France. Like I know a lot of lads that train there, so it's a very good gym. But the thing that surprised me is how tough he was.
Yeah. No, he does look like a very tough guy. And again, it's credit to him for stepping up short notice to fight someone like you, but also credit to you for taking this fight on short notice. A lot of fighters would say, no, dude, this is not what I was preparing for. This is not what I was going in for. Is this a big consideration at this point? Because we've been talking about canceled fights and not being able to match you and guys not wanting to fight you. At this point, are you in the mindset that, dude, just get me somebody, I don't care? Or do you still have to be calculated about who you're fighting?
Yeah. No, so like this fight, he actually took it on like a month's notice. But I had an opponent originally, like about 3 months out, but then he pulled out. Then it was hard to match me. So he still had like a month's notice. He went like a week's notice or something. But I just needed to fight because I knew I was training hard in Thailand. So I was just like, give me anyone. So they were sending me like lightweight. I was willing to fight a lightweight as well. So then we got Commanday at 68 kg.
Damn. So you went up in weight just to get this fight done.
Yeah, even when I fought in UAE Warriors, I had to go up in weight. I fought a lightweight to get a fight, or else I wouldn't have fought.
This is like the weirdest problem to have in a way, that you're just like doing well, and now it's hard for you to find opponents. How frustrating is that?
Yeah, it's very frustrating, especially when you like training. Like I was out in Thailand, focused. Then when they cancel, you lose a bit of motivation. So it's hard. But I know like on OKTAGON, it's a big show, so I knew they'll get me someone. But still, like you said, I still need to know like a couple of weeks who I'm fighting, having a game plan, preparing for them as well. So it's just good to know like about 2 months before the fight. That'll be perfect.
Yeah, ideally, but I don't think it's been working out like that. But hey, you only have yourself to blame, my friend. You're just so lethal in the cage. I guess nobody wants to step in there with you, right?
Yeah, but hopefully, next time, everything will be good. I'll have an opponent beforehand, and that's it.
Yeah. And like you mentioned, and like I mentioned at the start of the podcast as well, Brave CF 50, Cage Warriors 137, UAE Warriors 39, and now OKTAGON 48. Literally, this is the Shoaib Yousaf World Tour. There's no other way to put it, right? And now you're kind of finding a home base in OKTAGON for now. Of course, with that conditional offer being there, that you're able to head out to the UFC if they ever come calling. Have you, or how close would you say you've come to? I know the pandemic and a lot of things would mess it up, and I don't know if you ever want to talk about this on record. I'm sorry if I'm asking a question I shouldn't, but how close would you say you've come to the UFC, and how close have they come to you in this whole process?
Daniyal, to be honest, it's been very, very close. I even had an offer which it didn't come through for Dana White Contender Series, But so I would say I'm there, but I just need to concentrate on the fights that are in front of me. So I can't be thinking up here when I'm here yet. So I'm just taking it one fight at a time and just thinking about the next ones.
Right.
But I'd say, inshallah, the main goal for me is UFC.
Of course. A lot of discourse here in Pakistan. Now, Pakistani MMA is a lot of things. It is a beautiful organic sport that is sprouting out from, no real support apart from the interest of a few people who want to make it happen. But it's also often very toxic in a lot of ways as well, if I'm being honest. Like, there's a lot of things in Pakistani MMA that I would change. One such thing that, I wouldn't exactly describe it as toxic, but it is what it is. There's a lot of focus on who's going to be the first Pakistani fighter in the UFC? Who's going to be the first Pakistani fighter in the UFC? Who's going to be the first Pakistani fighter in the UFC? In my opinion, you're the clear front runner right now. Just based on your resume, based on your record, based on your form, based on skill level, based on everything. Do you care about this distinction? Like, is this something that you want to work towards? Is this something that you think about? I want to be the first Pakistani guy in the UFC. That's what I'm doing. Or is this just a completely different mindset that you have right now?
To be honest, Daniyal, like as a Muslim, we should I wish for my brothers, or I wish for myself. So I don't want to be like. Of course, I'd love to be the first Pakistani UFC fighter, but for me, it's just I just want to be in the UFC. It doesn't matter if I'm the first, third, 10th. For me, it's the UFC. But I'd love for a lot more to be Pakistani fighters to be in the UFC. So if my mindset is just I need to get to the UFC. But if I'm the first, that's I'd be happy with that. That's a big. It'll be go down in history as the first Pakistani in UFC. So yeah, but the main goal is just get to the UFC, inshallah. That's the plan.
And I feel like every time somebody scores a goal, the goalposts kind of move anywhere, right? The next things are going to be who's going to be the first Pakistani champion, who's going to be the first Pakistani who gets a UFC World Championship title fight. It just keeps evolving. So yeah, you're right.
But it's good to see a lot more Pakistani on a high level, even in the boxing, in MMA. Because I remember when I started, there was when I started competing in Thai boxing, jiu-jitsu, when I was 7, and you never used to see any Pakistani. I competed all around the UK, but now you go to shows and you see a lot more. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, 100%. And again, it's like we all grow together, right? You make it to the UFC, somebody else makes it to the UFC, they do well. That's going to open the gates for more and more fighters from Pakistan to come in and do their thing.
Yeah.
Do you follow other Pakistani MMA fighters? Like, what are your thoughts on the overall level of Pakistani MMA, especially at a high level? Because you compete at a very high level right now. You compete at the level where you're being seeded in for the UFC. When you look at the top guys here, I don't know if you watch the amateur scene here or the IMAF contenders and stuff like that. But what is your assessment of where Pakistan is at? Considering this is the Pakistani mixed martial arts show, I thought I should ask you.
Yeah, I think Daniyal, I do keep up to date with the Pakistani MMA. Of course, including myself, there's a lot of work to be done. But I think alhamdulillah, it's doing very well. It's doing very well. We got fighters in ONE FC, OKTAGON, Brave. So obviously it's still new for the Pakistani, but I think now is good. But can you imagine in 2-3 years or 4-5 years, it's just gonna get better and better.
Yeah, no, I agree with you 100%. And even if you look at 4 years ago, COVID, and then compare it to now, or 3 years ago, right? Everything that's happening here is just multiplied. It's insane. Just like the amount of shows and the amount of talent that's coming up. And, it's very good to watch. And of course, if we have guys like you representing us at the highest level, it's only going to make things more and more easier for us, right?
Yeah.
The IMAF World Championships are coming up in just a few weeks, actually. And there is a Pakistani contingent that's going. That's a whole different subject, but nonetheless, there's a team that's going. How would you recall your time at IMAF, as somebody? Because I know there's a lot of guys watching this podcast who want to kind of hear back and what that was like for you. I'm sure it's changed quite a bit as well since you competed, but more or less it's the same animal from a competition perspective. How would you describe IMAF for everyone watching? Was it tough?
It was super tough because it was when I competed in 2016. It was Ramadan then, So I was fasting whilst I was training. And then, but obviously, when I traveled to America, when I competed, it was in Vegas. I didn't fast then, so leading up to it, uh, like the training was hard because I was fasting whilst I was training. But again, like I had 5 fights in 6 days. So, like in the first fight in my fights, I broke both my knuckles, my right one and my left. So I had to like change, and yeah.
That
So,
is insane.
but yeah, I got through it, alhamdulillah. But I also think like because I was fasting and all that, it got me through, the fights, alhamdulillah. So yeah, but it's a very good experience, even for amateurs, because you're fighting like 6 times in 5 days if you carry on winning. And so having one fight after that, having one fight in a couple of months is easy.
No, that's true, and that is
And
some.
also every day as well. So
Yeah.
that's another thing.
Yeah, that's crazy. I mean, I went to the World Championships in 2021, and I was just there as a
Yeah.
journalist, and I ended up getting to ring announce because the other guy didn't show up, and I was like, I'm ready, So they just threw me in, and I was
Yeah,
tired by the end of it. Sorry, what?
yeah, look, you got a good opportunity as well then.
Yeah,
Going there then.
literally, I was supposed to go as a journalist, and they were just like, "Hey, you want to do this thing?" And I was like, "Yeah, I'm ready." And even I was tired by the end of the 6, 7 days. I was like, "My God, dude, this is exhausting work. I can't imagine having to fight 5, 6, 7 days in
Yeah,
a row. That's insane."
yeah. Even like mentally getting through that is tough as well. Like knowing, oh, you've won, and then the next day you're fighting again and again. And even like the competition I fought, like one of them, 2-0 in UFC now. I fought him in the semi-finals, quarterfinals from Tajikistan. He's in UFC 2-0. The guy I fought in the final, he's fighting on PFL. So the competitions were high. So you're fighting like high level guys every day.
And it's a good way to test whether you can hang in the big leagues as well. And clearly, you passed with
Yeah.
flying colors, and here we are, on the precipice of history. But again, this is stuff that keeps evolving. I also, for the last bit of this interview, I really want to go back once again to how you started MMA, and I was watching back one of your old fights, and Phil Campbell on commentary mentioned that your dad got you into Brazilian Jiu Jitsu at a very young age, I think at 7. Um, what was it
Yeah.
like? Like, you were very young when you started martial arts, but how would you describe, first getting into it? Like, was it fun? Did you like it? Were you like a fish out of water? Did you take to it very easily? And progressively over the years, as you kept growing up, because a lot of people grow out of these things that they find interest in when they're young. But did you ever kind of sway
Yeah.
away from martial arts?
So Daniel, my dad basically got me into it to like keep me out of trouble. Some young lads go down a different path. So he got me into just to learn how to defend myself and just stay out. So I used to basically, my day routine was school, straight to mosque, straight to training. So instead of hanging around with my friends or messing around on the streets, he used to make me go training. But to be honest, Daniel, at the start, I didn't like it. So because they used to like start throwing people around, they're like judo throws. I used to hate it. But then after a bit, I'd say when I was about 12 years old, like I really start enjoying it. And all my life I've been watching since I was a kid UFC. So I used to watch UFC. So I thought from jiu-jitsu, I started Thai boxing. My dad put me into Thai boxing. Then from there, I thought, listen, I want to start MMA. So that's how it went from jiu-jitsu to MMA. But at the start, yeah, I wouldn't say I hated it, but I went, like, it's just something I knew that it's in my routine I needed to do.
No, I mean that's brilliant. And would you say you grew up around a tough environment, so to speak, in terms of your city, and like you said, like there was a lot of kids around you who were getting into maybe the wrong stuff. This definitely did shield you from that. But
Yeah,
how would you describe your upbringing in that sense?
yeah, I wouldn't say, Daniel, that it was tough or anything, but we could have gone down the wrong path. Like if I see some of my friends, like, they gone down the wrong path, like it could have been me. So I wouldn't say like we've had a very tough upbringing. Like, alhamdulillah, we've had everything. Everything's been easy, but we could have gone down the wrong path. Like for me, like fighting's kept me disciplined. It's kept me away from all this like bad stuff. So alhamdulillah, it's like yeah, it's kept me from from a lot. Yeah, so alhamdulillah, it's been a blessing in disguise.
No, I feel you. And you mentioned you've been a UFC fan since you were very young as well. Who would you say is your favorite fighter, and who would you describe as somebody who all time, when you look at it, you know that this is the guy that I emulate, or if not emulate, then at least this is the guy I look up to. This is the guy whose status I want to reach one day.
Yeah. So I was always and still am. I was a big fan of Jose Aldo.
Hey,
That was
brilliant.
like my favorite. Yeah.
Wow. And like,
But Jose Aldo, but like a lot of this generation don't even know who Aldo is.
yeah, yeah.
But I'd say like yeah, my all-time favorite would be Aldo.
Yeah, that time when Jose Aldo and Renan Barao were just running roughshod like throughout both divisions simultaneously, just knocking dudes out silly. Aldo just used to chop up people's legs, like just it was brutal, literally brutal. Is that where a lot of your interest in, you know, especially Thai boxing and all that comes from? Like, do you want to emulate his style in some ways?
To be honest, I think I've got my own style, but when I was younger, I used to enjoy watching him, and maybe we have got some similarities. Like, but yeah, I think I've got my own style. But he was my favorite to watch when I was growing up.
For sure. Would you have a least favorite fighter? Why is it Paddy Pimblett? No, I'm kidding. Well, do you have a least favorite fighter in the UFC?
To be honest, Daniyal, no, I haven't. But because I know like it takes a lot to get in there and fight. So there isn't a fighter that I want. Oh, I hate this guy. No, I haven't got one.
I think you're too nice of a guy to have a least favorite fighter. I think that's what I'm picking up from this interview as well. And you are such a solid guy. We met in Abu Dhabi as well, in Dubai, pardon me. And it was just such a pleasure to be around you. It was such good energy, and you know, you took out time to help the Pakistan national team, and you know, just do a couple of sessions with them, just talk to them. You know, it was such a pleasure. And kind of going back to,
but then, I was gonna say we're planning inshallah to come soon to Pakistan.
Let's go.
To be honest, I was meant to be there. I was meant to be there a couple of weeks ago. All my family went, but I was in Thailand getting ready for the fight. But I would have been there in Pakistan. But maybe after, maybe next year, early next year.
Dude, let's go, please. We actually have a big show we're planning end of January. I don't think I'll be able to get you an opponent, but I could definitely like have you there or whatever. It would be such an honor to have you there. That'd be really cool. I think
I was gonna say that I'm fighting myself January 27th again, inshallah.
Are you
in New? Yeah.
That's breaking news. Like, we don't have music like Halwani does. January 27th for OKTAGON.
So January 20th for OKTAGON,
in Newcastle.
So in Newcastle, I haven't got an opponent or anything yet, but that's the date that we're looking at.
Can I just say that's some gangster shit that you've signed a contract, you've agreed to come on, you don't even have an opponent, you don't know who you're fighting, you're just like, get me someone.
Yeah, that's the plan, inshallah.
Well, you heard it here first, January 27th. OKTAGON, Newcastle, Shoaib the Assassin Yousaf will be fighting. Opponent TBD, but doesn't matter. That is brilliant. Thank you so much for dropping that here. I'm going to clip that out and just, you know, start spreading the news as soon as I possibly can. I want to ask you, like, you do follow Pakistani MMA and everything. Do you have someone in the roster of Pakistani fighters that you have that you look at, that you really appreciate, that you say, yeah, this style is good, fighting style is good? Obviously, you probably don't have a favorite Pakistani fighter, but is there somebody that you look at and you say, yeah, that's a guy I would tip my hat to and say he's doing a good job?
Yeah, to be honest, Daniyal, everyone is good. You've got like Mujtaba, but I like Ismail Khan. You know, I was following him when he was at the amateurs, so that's who I'd say, yeah.
Dude, he is the future. He is so good, right?
Yeah, his style, his work ethic, like he trains hard. So yeah, I'd say him.
Dude, that is brilliant. And I think this, like, overall, like, just from this interview, I can gather that you're really focused on just achieving what you know you can achieve. And the last question I want to ask you is, a lot of people dream of the promised land. They say they want to get to the UFC. They say that's where they want to be. That's where they belong. You've shown through your fights and through your skill set and through all of the time that you spent inside the cage that you do belong at that high level of competition. That's exactly what you're working towards. But if I have to ask you to sum up what the goal is, like every morning when you wake up, before you go to train, you tell yourself something. What is that something? What is the goal that when you hang it up and you say, this is what I've wanted to do and I've been able to do it? What's the goal for you?
To be honest, Daniyal, is like to be the best that I can be. That's the goal. So when I wake up, like I think I need to train, be the best. But since I was younger, like my dream is just to be UFC, and not just UFC, inshallah, maybe like a UFC champion. But like I said, just I don't like thinking too ahead. Just like now, my focus is January 27th, OKTAGON in Newcastle. So I don't like looking too ahead. But UFC is 100%. That's been my goal since I started fighting.
Man, I'm so excited to see you fight January 27th, OKTAGON, Newcastle. Again, opponent TBD, but does not matter. That is absolute gangster shit, I just want to say. And Shoaib, I want to personally, on the air, on the record, apologize that it took us so long to get an interview done, but we got it done. And that's what matters. And
we got it. Yeah.
Now that we've got it done, I just want to keep this train rolling. I would want this to be your home to come and talk about stuff before a fight, after a fight, because we got a new setup, as all of the beautiful people on the mic are seeing. We have a new camera. It's a quicker process. We don't have to record with a shitty phone. We don't have to input our audio separately. It all goes in one, comes out. This whole new system we're using. By the way, this is the first time we've had someone on with this new application that you had to download as well before the show. So yeah, I really, really want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for taking out time and talking to us here on the mic. I know a lot of people in your position might just say, hey, dude, next time, So I really appreciate you. I just want to say that.
Thank you for having me on.
Not an issue at all. Shoaib, any last parting thoughts, final message, anything you want to get across to the beautiful people watching on the mic?
I think the only message is soon, inshallah, we're going to come Pakistan. Everyone says when you come in Pakistan, but soon, that's the plan. To be honest, we've been planning for a long time, but inshallah, early next year, I would say. Maybe after the January fight, maybe we'll fly over for a bit.
Yeah, celebrate in style, celebrate in Pakistan. No better way to do it.
Yeah, you're right.
Let's go. Again, Shoaib, thank you so much for this. I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for that breaking news. And thank you all so much for watching and staying till the end of the video. I really appreciate you as well. In case you don't know, now you know, Shoaib the Assassin Yousaf fighting January 27th for OKTAGON in Newcastle against an opponent that has not been decided, but does not matter who it is. Ladies and gentlemen, he is on top of the world right now. He's on a world tour right now. And right now, he is the front runner to make it to the UFC from Pakistan. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been an absolute pleasure talking to him. And thank you all so much once again for watching till the end. We will be bringing you more mixed martial arts content from all around the world, and Pakistani mixed martial arts faster than ever now. On the mic is not stopping. The weigh-in is not stopping. Thank you all so much. Until I talk to you next time, please take care of yourselves. Stay healthy, stay fit, go punch a bag, put some gloves on, train MMA, learn how to fight, and keep it tight. We'll talk to you soon.